The Clippers made this move because they were desperate.
Listen, if we've learned anything over the NBA, from the NBA the last several years, it's when you throw a lot of talent together, it is not guaranteed to work.
This is a very hard thing they are trying to do with a high degree of difficulty fitting these four guys in.
From the moment James Harden opted into his contract and requested a trade from the Philadelphia 76ers, the Los Angeles Clippers quickly emerged as one of the favorites to acquire him. Fast forward to present day, James Harden is indeed a Los Angeles Clipper, as he always wanted. But only a few games into his tenure, the early results have been discouraging at best and troubling at worst. While going home to his hometown Los Angeles may be easy and comfortable for Harden, the actual basketball has been quite the opposite. The Clippers made this trade to win now, but they've done nothing but lose since Harden entered their lineup. It's still early and we're still only a couple games into Harden's tenure with the Los Angeles Clippers, but their decision to bring Harden home is a move that's looking more desperate with each passing day. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Leading up to the season, I spammed predictions at you guys consistently. Michael Porter Jr. needed over 5.5 rebounds in his season debut. Tyreek Hill just needed a touchdown, and Steph Curry just needed 1 point. Shout out to those that tailed. For those of you guys that were able to make money, we're giving away our picks for free all season long for the NBA and NFL on my Instagram at TheFlightMike. And right now, when you use promo code microphone on Prize Picks, they'll match your deposit up until $100. Thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? In the early hours of Halloween morning, the 76ers and Los Angeles Clippers finally did the deed that has been rumored for months. The Sixers traded James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Philip Petrusev for Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, KJ Martin, an unprotected 2028 first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and a protected 2026 first-round pick from OKC. Daryl Morey and the Philadelphia 76ers got the assets they wanted, and the Clippers got Harden along with a 38-year-old PJ Tucker. The trade reunited Harden and Russell Westbrook for the third time in their careers, with these two former MVPs pairing with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Nobody can match this four-man lineup in terms of Hall of Fame credentials. The obvious question post-trade is a common question that is asked typically whenever such super teams are formed. How will all these players mesh together? How will James Harden be able to fit with 3 other players who also need the ball? Head coach Ty Lue believed Harden's biggest strengths would help amplify what the team already does well.
But he's a dynamic pick and roll player. You know, I think it was a stat where it showed he got his teammates last year 350 open shots, you know, just by running pick and roll, by giving penetration to the paint and making plays. And so he's led the league in assists the last couple of years, and we need his passing ability. And so it'd be really good for us.
Paul George also raved about James Harden's passing while salivating about potential mismatches.
It's going to definitely help me. Like, I'm going to get so many more just open catch and shoot threes, just easy opportunities. Because who do you like? The best defender is going to guard who?
That's what I was thinking. Who's going to, it's going to be a matchup nightmare.
But the quote that grabbed the most headlines, the quote that went absolutely viral, especially for James Harden haters and NBA fans alike, is what James Harden said in his introductory conference, famously saying,
"I'm not a system player, I am a system."
And that short comment seems to highlight exactly what skeptics were worried about with this Clippers team. Harden once led the NBA in scoring for 3 straight seasons and has twice led the league in assists. But Harden had the ball in his hands a lot those years as the first or second option. As much as the Clippers may have been excited about his potential to create opportunities for others, James Harden has historically played his best when he's been the system, which once again, he won't be in Los Angeles. James Harden would make his debut against the New York Knicks on the road, and it got off to a promising start. Harden dished out some early assists in the first quarter, while getting more more aggressive scoring the ball in the second quarter. The game stayed close as they led by 4 at halftime, but the Knicks offense came to life in the second half. After entering the fourth quarter tied, the Knicks exploded early in the fourth, turning what was a close game into a blowout. Ty Lue waved the white flag early, taking his starters out with about 4.5 minutes left, as the Los Angeles Clippers lost 111-97. Statistically, Harden played fine, scoring 17 points on an efficient 6 of 9 shooting, and also led the team with 6 assists. But nobody on the Clippers had defensive answers for the Knicks in the second half, while they failed to even crack 100 points on offense. 2 nights later, James Harden would face off against one of his former teams, his first attempt at forming a super team with the Brooklyn Nets. Mind you, the Brooklyn Nets were severely underhanded going into this game. They were missing Cameron Johnson along with Nick Claxton and Ben Simmons. And during the third quarter, they lost arguably one of their best players in Cam Thomas. And yet the Los Angeles Clippers ended up losing again while failing to crack the century mark in a 100-93 loss. The Clippers shot less than 40% from the floor and made just 8 of their 36 three-point attempts. Once again, LA's defense struggled to get stops down the stretch as Lonnie Walker led a balanced Nets offense with 21 points off the bench, while 5 other Nets had double-digit scoring nights. Harden had a tough night, finishing with 12 points on 4 of 9 shooting, and while he filled up other areas of the stat sheet, he also had a game-high 5 turnovers and heard some taunts of
right through the playoffs in that Milwaukee series as well.
And there's a lot of factors to the dissolution of that group, but I am to your point.
One turnover in particular went viral, with Harden passing up an open catch-and-shoot 3 before airmailing a pass to announcer Ian Eagle. Harden and the Clippers had a chance to move on from this brutal loss on Friday during the last game of their road trip in Dallas. And during the first quarter, Harden and LA's offense was locked in. He didn't miss a shot in the opening period, scoring 14 points off of a pair of catch-and-shoot 3s, a pick-and-roll floater, and was a perfect 6 of 6 from the line. LA had led by 3 at the end of the first quarter, but the Mavericks had already begun their run. Dallas scored 17 consecutive points between the end of the first and the start of the second quarter. That resulted in the start of a staggering 33-4 Dallas run, as the Dallas Mavericks outscored the Clippers 47-18 in the second quarter. At one point in the second half, they stretched their lead to 32 points and hit the 100-point mark with 4.5 minutes left in the third quarter. The entire fourth quarter ended up being garbage time as the Dallas Mavericks coasted to a 144-126 win, as LA would fall 0-3 and would lose their 4th straight game overall. The Clippers came nowhere close to slowing down Luka Doncic, who finished with 44 points while shooting 17 of 21, including 6 of 9 from 3, and LA's Big Four ended up sitting out the entire fourth quarter as Harden ended up going scoreless after the first quarter. But probably my favorite moment of James Harden's third game as a member of the Los Angeles Clippers was what Mavericks announcer Brian Damaris said in regards to James Harden. It's something that I was echoing many times earlier this offseason as I was covering James Harden in regards to his relationship with Daryl Morey. He's a man that has gotten everything that he's always wanted, but constantly blames others for his problems. And this man said it beautifully within about a minute. Watch.
I'm telling you in advance, you're welcome for the wisdom I'm about to spew. You wanted a certain coach, they brought in Mike D'Antoni. You want to play a certain style, they played it. You wanted Dwight Howard, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. You wanted Chris Paul, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. They brought in your old friend Russell Westbrook. You want to go to Vegas on off days, they looked away. You wanted the team to stay over so you could go out at night, they changed the schedule and it didn't work. And you know what? You said, I'm going to break up with my whoopee. Not good enough. I see the bright lights in New York. I want to go there. My old pal Kevin Durant. It's going to work. Big 3. And all after 1 year, you wanted out. You realized, oh my gosh, I took this guy for granted, the guy that believed in me. I went back with Daryl Morey. They traded Ben Simmons for you. How did they pull that off? And you know what? You went there and you got a partner who got the MVP. He won the MVP. And what did you say afterwards? You said, they didn't hand me the reins. You're the point guard. You were holding the reins. And what did you do when you had the reins? You scored 9 points in Game 7 against Boston. You blew a 3-2 series lead. So they fired their coach. Not good enough. You broke up with the guy believing in you again. You said, the bright lights of LA, that's where I want to go. Let's see if that works. If this doesn't work this year in this system with this team, then you're going to go and point fingers at everybody else, and you're going to go back home and you're going to start swiping right for another team. There's not going to be anybody left because, James, you're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem.
At this point, if you're the Los Angeles Clippers, what do you do? Well, so far they're still learning on the fly as the team gets familiar with James Harden's addition to the lineup. New acquisitions at any point in the season are tough for a team, but it's more difficult when you get a player whose skill set demands that they take the ball out of your best player's hands. Early numbers are showing the negative effect of playing both James Harden and Russell Westbrook as opposed to when Russell Westbrook is on the court without him. James Harden offers a lot of star power and still has the ability to put up big numbers on any given night, but so can Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook, not to mention the other players in the rotation who need the ball. Norman Powell and Bones Highland are both in the league for their scoring, while Terrence Mann often operates in a Swiss Army knife role. An older PJ Tucker so far doesn't look like he'll be enough to make up the deficit on defense. Maybe they address that role by going after someone like Portland's Matisse Thybulle, but they don't really have the assets to make a move for a player that possesses tremendous defensive potential, which is often a premium role in the NBA. But right now, Ivica Zubac is the only true big in the lineup after Mason Plumlee suffered a knee injury that is expected to sideline him for months. Reports are already surfacing that they're interested in trading for Indiana's Daniel Tice, and this offseason, John Collins got traded to the Utah Jazz for Rudy Gay and a second-round pick. Why couldn't the Clippers go after him? A Collins trade would have covered much more of their weaknesses in the front court as opposed to doubling down on some of their strengths like they did by getting James Harden. From a team building and franchise perspective, this Clippers team shares qualities with the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett Brooklyn Nets. They also had an incredibly wealthy new owner with a team in a new city and a new arena. Brooklyn put together 4 former All-Stars in Pierce, KG, Darren Williams, and Joe Johnson as they tried to dominate the East and challenge the Miami Heat for Eastern Conference supremacy, and that core never came close to winning a championship. The Clippers will be moving into their new arena next year and also boast 4 former All-Stars in their lineup, like those Nets. These Clippers are fighting for fans in their own city with the generationally popular Los Angeles Lakers. Adding another star might help gain popularity and attention in the short term, but winning is what sustains that for the long term, and the Clippers haven't done that even once with Harden yet. After skipping training camp and the preseason, James Harden said after the Dallas loss that he needs a 10-game window to see where he's at with his new team. For me individually, this is only my 3rd game. I didn't have a training camp, I didn't have a preseason, so everything is still moving fast speed for me. I need about a 10-game window then to kind of see where I am from there. But you know who doesn't need a 10-game window? The Philadelphia 76ers, throwing salt on the wound of James Harden's early struggles. Philadelphia has been playing great without him. After losing to Milwaukee by a point on opening night, the Sixers have run the table, winning 7 in a row and currently sit in first place in the Eastern Conference. It seems like it's been addition by subtraction as Harden's departure has given more touches to Tyrese Maxey, who's playing like an all-star next to last season's MVP, Joel Embiid. The story of James Harden's time with the Clippers is just starting to be written, but right now, his time in LA has been nothing but a failure. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I know it's still premature, but did the Clippers make a horrific mistake trading for James Harden? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.